Hey everyone, welcome to the Grinding Station. Here we will be discussing our tournament grinds, our experiences within the format, and all things cEDH. We're your hosts, I'm C9 River,
And I'm Morgan.
and today we'll be talking about a very fun and interesting topic that the community may not agree with us on, and that we might not even agree with each other on, although, spoiler, we do. Um, and that is Ad Nauseum, Necropotence, and Peer into the Abyss and their positions in the format, our opinions on these cards, and their progression or regression in cEDH. Before we jump into all that, though, Morgan, how has your week been?
It's been pretty good, It's Thanksgiving, so it's been a little light on the Magic, but I did get to play some this morning, or not this morning, I guess this evening. Uh, After the One Piece tournament was done at the shop, I got a couple cEDH games in with some players who are like getting into the format.
Oh,
One was playing Kinnan, and then the other was playing Croxa, so it was quite interesting. Uh, we ended up playing 3 games. I won 2 of them, just with like intuition to breach. I was like, oh, here I am.
sometimes I just get
I
there.
was like, oh, yep, intuition good card turns out. I got to teach them the best intuition pile. They
Oh,
didn't know it. I also got to teach them the best card to get me out of the best intuition pile. Because they were debating, and at one point they're talking about like, "Hey, should we just give him breach?" I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. Don't give me that." I'm gonna give you a hint. It's definitely Lion's Eye Diamond. That's the one. But yeah, it was super fun. I'm glad I got to play with some new faces that I haven't got to play with a ton. So it was real fun.
well, that's good.
Anyways, how's your week been?
It's been pretty good. I also have not done like any cEDH. Obviously, I still keep up with the format and stuff, and review games when I can, but my week has been rough starting my new job. I work like 7:15 p.m. to 4 a.m. and I come home, I go to bed, I wake up, and I don't really have a whole lot of time for cEDH. It just kind of depends what's going on between trying to spend more time with my girlfriend because the schedule change and stuff. But I do plan on here soon, probably next time I get paid, so in about 2 weeks. I plan on getting a webcam so that I can start playing Paper Magic online because Cockatrice is not doing it for me. So should be able to say get more games in soon, but we'll see what happens. Um, Other than that, I've just been, you know, chilling and relaxing, playing a lot of League of Legends. Super hyped for the new champion to come out.
He looks
Uh,
so complicated, bro.
uh, yeah, I'm only gonna play him as a support. I do it every time when a new champ comes out. I will play them. Well, when a new champ that's support viable comes out, I will play them as a support until I get the mastery level 7, and then I won't touch them for like months. So that's probably what's gonna happen. But I love the kit. I think it's really cool. Um, it doesn't seem like too much for me to learn, but we'll see. Other than that, yeah, not much. Just same old, same old.
Well, I think that wraps up our week. Let's get into it.
Yeah, so there's a take I think you and I both have. I'll give the most milk toast version of the take, which is essentially, I think holistically, cards like Necropotence and Ad Nauseum have been really good in the format, and they are cards that have been able to been abusable. Um, but I think as the format warps into the direction that it is currently warping into, these cards more often than not feel like dead cards, which I know is really weird to say, because like Ad Nauseum is a card that traditionally wins you the game. Necropotence is a card that traditionally wins you the game. Peer into the Abyss is a card that wins you the game, or should win you the game, probability wise. Um, but I'm fine with starting with the ones that I'm fine starting backwards and working up to Ad Nauseum. So I'm fine with talking about Peer into the Abyss first, and then working towards Necro and Ad Nauseum.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so Peer into the Abyss is a card that I'm pulling up right now because I don't know what it does off the top of my head. I know what it does, but you know, I'm not gonna recite it and get something wrong. And then all the nerds come out of nowhere and tell me that I'm wrong. So I gotta do this for myself. So Peer into the Abyss is a 4 generic, 3 mana, 3 black mana pip spell. So 7 mana altogether. Sorcery speed that says target player draws cards equal to half the number of cards in their library and loses half their life. Round up each time. This is a card that in our format says draw 40 cards, roughly, or draw 35 cards, or draw 30 cards, whatever the deck total is. Drawing that amount of cards is really good, turns out, and for 7 mana, seems like it's a pretty good rate. My feelings on this card, even since it came out, were that it's actually like too slow for our format. 7 mana is a lot, and it's a spell that requires you to have it in hand and free interaction, because 7 mana, you're going to hear me say this a lot. 7 mana or mana past like 4 leading out of 5 is a mana value that almost causes you to tap out for it. So if you aren't protecting this spell and it doesn't resolve, you've essentially time walked yourself and you tapped your mana to do nothing. And spells like that feel really bad. Like if you tap out for an advantage engine and it gets countered, like a One Ring or a Rhystic Study, it's, I think, less bad than if you spend your whole turn hoping to get this off to win the game, because it's a spell that like your opponents can't let resolve, if that makes sense. So I've never been high on it. 7 mana is too much, and the fact that it targets with Deflecting Swat in our format, I've watched this win so many people other than the person casting at the game. So
I mean, yeah, you summed it up pretty well. I think that I almost said Ad Nauseum. Peer in the Abyss is still viable in some decks. Like it still does say 7 mana, you should win the game, right? But like you need to be able to cheat it out, right? I think it's fine and like I think Crick plays it sometimes. I'm not entirely sure, but I know any deck that's on like the Broodlord package, that deck, like those decks play it because Broodlord is like, oh, I reanimate Broodlord and then I go get PETA and cast it for much less than its mana cost. So it still has a place in the format. It's just not. It's not a good stand-alone card, right? You don't want to be investing 7 mana into this big fat draw spell and go, oh yeah, you've invested a few rituals, a lot of your card advantage that you've been gaining over the last couple turns to play this really big spell to win the game. Nah, nah. I'd rather play like another advantage engine. I'd rather be able to draw cards consistently over the course of a period of time rather than be like, here it is, I won the game. Take it or leave it.
yeah, and I think we're gonna get into that with Ad Nauseum as well later into the podcast. But it's I always tell people it's really hard to make plays that are telling. If you're playing Peer into the Abyss, you have nothing better to do. And if you have nothing better to do and this gets countered, I no longer have to worry about you. Because if I counter this and you didn't respond and counter it, you don't have a counter spell in hand. So, or you're letting it get countered and playing from the back foot, hoping to draw into something in your now 80 something card deck that no advantage engine on board, no nothing, just hoping this resolves. And then if it doesn't, trying to play control from behind. Just feels really bad. No, I agree with you. I do think it has its place. I know Nashi. I believe it's the Moon Sage.
The
Um,
Mono Black Nashi or the Abzan one?
no, the Mono Black Nashi.
Okay.
I said the wrong one. It is not. Yes, okay. Nashi Moon Sage's Scion. This is a card. It's 3 mana. Super easy to turbo out. Mono black. You're in mono black, so you get to freely tutor. It essentially, when it deals combat damage to a player, you exile the top card of each player's library until end of turn. You may play those cards. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost. This is a deck I've seen utilize this card really well and turbo it really well because that's all the deck wants to do is turbo out PETA and win. I've watched this deck do this as consistently as turn 2, and that I think is where PETA is really good. But or like you said, Kirk. Even though I don't know if Kirk decks are even on PETA anymore, but I think those are decks where you're like low to the ground color wise. The moment you start splashing in more colors is like almost a why are we doing this thing? I think the upside to PETA is that again it is. I'm not gonna say it's guaranteed, but there's a good chance you are winning when you cast and resolve it.
It's like a 95% chance, bro.
Yeah, like you should be winning the game. Um, but yeah, it's one of those cards where
Oh my
I
gosh. I'm sorry. I should have
no,
said
you're
this during the week recap. And I guess it goes with Ad Nauseum more. I saw an Ad Naus fail this weekend.
good.
And, like, kill someone.
Oh yeah,
In
I've seen that happen a
in
lot.
Mad Farm.
Yeah.
The
Oh
deck that's designed to Naus from, like, 15 life.
damn.
It was pretty
Well,
funny. Sorry. I know it's
oh
a
you're good.
sidebar, but I was just like, oh, I need to say something about that. That was hilarious.
Yeah. Um, man, it's yeah. PETA is one of those cards that I just don't think is positioned well in our format. I think there are other things we could be doing better with black as a color additive, and a lot of times I feel like PETA could just be a tutor for less mana. Like I hate Grim Tutor a lot, but like I'd rather play Grim Tutor over PETA. I think, and that's kind of telling.
It depends
Where,
on the deck for me, man.
um,
I'm a big Dargo stan, and Dargo decks like PETA.
yeah, Dargo decks also suck in my opinion.
That's it. I'm
um,
gonna bring Dargo Thras and absolutely destroy you next time we play.
that's fair. That's fair.
I actually
Um,
picked up the Thrasios and the Dargo this weekend.
really?
The new cool ones from LCI.
Yeah, I'm on the point of PETA. I think that like I don't know. I don't. I think I'd really have to see the deck. Other than like Nashi or Kirk, I think it's really hard for me to ever justify paying 7 mana, because it's just so much. Like mana's so crucial, and you always have to have the play. Like people don't understand this, and this kind of goes back to our responsibility episode. And I don't know if I got to say it in there because we did talk about responsibility a lot, but I think you have to have a plan for if you don't win the game. If you do a thing and aren't winning, I think it's very hard to justify sitting there and passing and not having any control over the game. Um, this is a spell, unfortunately, that forces you to protect it because, again, like if it doesn't resolve, you're just playing control from behind, and that does feel bad. But yeah, even with 7 mana, like if you pay 7 mana, like I think PETA is a really good late game card. I don't think it's good in the turns where people want to be playing it, if that makes sense. Where like the first 5 turns of the game, I think are where PETA shines a lot. Where you're able to turbo this out, play it, and or no, hold on. I think that's what people are doing with it because they think it's really good. they think it's really good very early in the game, in the first 5 turns, because people are used to Ad Nauseum doing the same thing. But I don't think it is actually good early. I think it's only good mid to late, where all their interaction's been spent. I've accrued enough advantage. I'm going to put this onto the stack. This ends the game here. And I think it's a really good card in that aspect, but I just think people will play it wrong and irresponsibly, and they try and shove it down your throat early with no backup, and then complain when like, oh, well, if you didn't have interaction, I would have won if that resolved. And it's like, you're right, but you're dumb. So like, that's just how that is.
Also, there's no other big mana payoff. Like, we're talking about Ad Nauseum and Necro. Neither of those gets deflecting swatted.
Yep.
PETA can just get swatted and end up losing you the game.
Or there's the other big one, the always looming orc in the room.
That is true. Bowmasters.
Bowmasters, dude.
Our Lord and Savior Bowmasters.
Bowmasters is such a rough card because of the way it works. You're killing like 2 players when PETA resolves, which is like really nice. They draw the cards, they lose the life. The spell resolves, the cards have been drawn, Orcish Bowmaster triggers on stack. Now you have half life, they only need to deal half damage to you. They do everything else somewhere else, clear the board, swing the massive orc army at somebody else, they die, and it's a 1v1. And I think that with Orcish Bowmaster, it's just not good.
It's just not good.
Yeah. Bowmaster and Deflecting Swat are like 2 really prevalent cards in the format right now. Rightfully so, both cards are insanely good. I have heard inklings from places, I'm going to be nice this episode, that they've been cutting Bowmaster. I don't think that's correct, but hey, to each their own. So if you're in a non-Bowmaster heavy meta and you want to play PETA, sure, but not in any meta I've ever played in. But hey, you know what? You do you, right?
You do you, boo.
Any other comments on PETA?
PETA! No, I'm good. I've said my piece about PETA. It gets swatted. And I don't like that.
I've been swatted before.
I have not. But I have seen it happen, and I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen for me, brother.
Like, I don't want to be that guy that gets swatted and he goes, oh, I lose to variance. I don't like that term. I don't like when people go, well, I just lost to variance. Or, oh, I just got unlucky. I hate that, bro.
Dude, it is not that you got unlucky, it's that you're bad.
Like okay, I saw Richard Ad Nauseum from, 35 and die to his Ad Nauseum, not finding a single fast mana, rock. That's variance. I'll give him that. That was losing to variance. He literally did the turn 2 Naus, resolved. He was on the play. No one had counter magic, and he died to his own Ad Nauseum.
Hold on. Did he main phase it?
He did main phase it, but he had to main phase it because if it had gone around again, he saw that the 3 blue decks were tapped out on turn 2, and none of us had free counter magic. He was like, if I don't main phase it, I just don't get it casted, because Matt was playing Talion. So he's like,
how
okay.
How much free mana did he use to cast Ad Nauseum?
Like none.
Really?
Yeah.
No rocks, no
nothing? Exactly Mana Crypt, and then Dark Rit, and that was it.
Oh, those are big.
But if that's it, that's still a fine Naus.
I mean,
he has so many viable ways to get to the 2 mana he needs to jump off with that deck. Right? He didn't see a single 0 mana rock. He didn't even see Dockside. He didn't see anything. He saw removal for one thing you need to get rid of, and he's like, I need to find the fast mana, and I'm golden. I have everything. If I find a red source, if I find my Simian Spirit Guide, we're chilling. Didn't see it. He just died to his own Naus. It was insane.
Yeah, games like that can be very rough.
And he's like, I did everything right and I just lost. I was like, sometimes that happens, bud. Like that just sucks.
Yeah, I definitely think Ad Nauseum can get fucked because we're gonna be talking about Necropotence now.
Yeah, I like this card.
I don't, but I want to hear your opinions on it.
So this card is very good in Grixis shells, specifically Grixis shells, and it's mainly because of Final Fortune and Born Upon Wind, and the fact that if all else fails, I can just use the Necropotence to refill my hand and pass. Like that's fine in my opinion, right? Like I think Rogsai is a fine deck to be playing Necropotence. I know it kind of gets hosed sometimes because of it, but it's a 3 mana enchantment. It's kind of hard to beat that rate.
I I have way stronger feelings on Necro. I don't think the card's good at all. Well, that's a lie. There's only one instance where I think Necropotence is beneficial, and I genuinely think that's only when you're refilling your hand with it. I think it's fine to sit there, go to your turn, make up a life, pass. Like kind of seeing what you're getting. But I never see people refill their hand. I only ever see people go, "Oh, I got the turn 2 Necropotence. I'm gonna pay 30 life," and then they see nothing. And more often than not, or they just don't find what they need. Um, like you still have to discard down to hand size, so it's not like you're sitting there with 30 cards in your hand and passing. You're discarding down to 7, which again, people don't understand, I think, what what it means to like go for protected wins. Um, because if I see you discard counter magic, then I have a feeling you just have it. And if you just have it, you're not drawing a card on your turn. You're gonna try and go for it, and I'm just gonna stop you. The likelihood of the 7 cards in hand being everything you need plus one of your, because this is under the assumption your commander's not in the field. Because usually when Necro's hitting the field is when your commander's not there. I mean when it's played early. So you're already cut off of Deflecting Swat. You're already cut off of Fierce Guardianship, which means you can't play Force of Negation because it's on your turn if you're protecting a win. Force of Will forces you to pitch a card, so you technically only have 6 cards in hand. One of them has to be a card you can pitch. Your variance is usually super high in these decks, so it's very difficult to find a blue source that you're willing to pitch because it's usually other interaction. Um, and again, it's a card that I think forces players to just play poorly with. I think Necro was really good when people were. I think Necro was good in like Zur. Like I think Zur is still a deck that can attack, play Necropotence, play some other things, refill their hands. I think Zur is a deck I see that get played more responsibly in. Um, that's a deck I agree with it in. I think it's fine in like Kirk because you're just trying to win the game early. Um, if you end up resolving it, although again I don't know if they're on Necro right now. Um, and I do agree that with the card like Born Upon the Wind or Emergent Zone, you do have the opportunity of like discarding down, winning on somebody else's win attempt. But again, there are so many cards in your deck that the chances of you hitting like all of the cards you need to do that are just so slim in my opinion that it's not usually worth it. But again, that's like my experience with the card. I don't think anyone's, at least in a pod I've played in, I don't think anyone's ever played Necropotence and won a game. Usually I'm not letting it resolve, and if it's being cheated out, I just don't make game actions until like they're dead because they're gonna pay an absurd amount of life. They're gonna go for the win. I'm gonna stop them because FYI, if anyone's new to this podcast, I like exclusively play Control. So I do have a bias, I will say, to my play style. Whereas I think Necropotence and like Peer into the Abyss are really good into cards, are into less control metas and less control strategies. Um, but from like a control player standpoint, it's a card that makes people go pay 30, ditch all of my counter magic because I'm hoping to win on my turn. I don't win on my turn. Fuck. Like pay 5 life. I'm at like 2 or something at this point because I've like lost a mana crypt flip or I've done whatever else, and now I'm sitting here hoping nobody kills me. Oh, I died, and I don't know. But I do like it in the situations, like I said, when you're refilling your hand with it. I think it's a really good card. I think if you're reading the table properly, it's a really good card. And depending on what you have in hand already, but I think it just requires so much more personally.
Right. It's for sure the it's like the redheaded stepchild of the three, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, you make me wait. What? You make me discard down to hand size? What? But I don't know. I have a soft spot for Necropotence, I guess. It feels like home almost, you know. Just cast Necropotence, you're like, yeah, I'm chilling, I'm vibing.
It does take me back to I think a simpler time, right? Like in a time where Yawgmoths was even like really better. Like these, to be fair, I mean Yawgmoths could also technically go on this list, even though I still think it's like better than the 3 on the list. I think Necropotence is a card that was like really good, before people started playing fucking turbo Rhystic Study decks, before the printing of Esper Sentinel.
I love the Turbo Rhystic Study meta, bro.
Oh, it's fun.
God.
And like with Crom in the format, I think it's really rough to justify playing Necropotence. Because again, if you're ever against Blue Farm, you're at least beating them 1 card, and that's if your opponents aren't en masse like trying to stop you and then feeding an additional card. And if the Blue Farm player is playing correctly, they usually have interaction in hand. It's very rare that I watch like good Blue Farm players just not have interaction in hand. And like they're gonna stop you. Like the table's going to stop you. They're gonna work together to stop you. The moment if Necropotence resolves, everyone's game plan is to tutor interaction or to try and win before you win. But then those players are usually throwing the game. But
yeah. The moral of the story is only cast Necropotence when you can vamp tutor your Born Upon a Win to the top.
Yeah, funny enough, I'd agree with that. I think if you have enough top deck manipulation through tutors, sure, I think absolutely go for it. I think there's absolutely times where you can. I think Necropotence is definitely a card that almost shouldn't see play in decks decks that use card. What is it called?
Wheel of Fortune?
No, it's the God, dude, I'm boomer brain.
Describe it to me.
Red enchantment.
Underworld Breach?
Underworld Breach. Because the cards you discard go to exile. It's not like they stay in your grave. I think if they stayed in your grave, it'd be really good in those decks, but it's not. And so, like, let's say I'm not going to do the math. Let's say you do the thing where you pay a bunch of life, draw a bunch of cards, and exile a bunch of cards. Depending on what you're exiling, you're probably never breaching. Because the likelihood of you keeping an LED in your hand, in a hand of 7, where you're also hoping that you have free interaction, plus Underworld Breach, is like, it's not happening, bro. You're not winning the game.
I mean, at that point, I think you're just pivoted onto Thoracle.
Which you should, but I just don't see enough players do that. And it it can be frustrating.
I don't know. Do you know what the undisputed best Necropotence deck is?
Oh no, what?
Oh, it's Oscar. Let me pull up Oscar on. Uh, Let me pull up his card because it's very synergistic with it. Okay, Oscar Rubbish Reclaimer. It's 3 blue-black for a legendary creature, human wizard, and it costs 1 less to cast for each different mana value among cards in your graveyard. And then when you discard a non-land card, you may cast it from your graveyard. So if you know how Necropotence works, it has a trigger to exile the card from your graveyard that goes onto the stack. And then this you can stack so you can cast it before it would get exiled. So you can actually do like full combo lines if you land this in a Necropotence.
Oh yeah.
Which I've seen. When I was playing in the bonfire, someone played it, and unfortunately, it didn't get to go off and do the thing. I ended up with a spicy turn one wheel that ended up locking everyone except for one other player out of the game, and I won the game. But yeah, that deck is interesting, and it's the best Necropotence deck in my opinion.
Yeah. You're gonna hear me say this about the next card. I think if you play around Necropotence correctly, I think it is a really good card. But it's if you're not playing around it, it's just not a card that like should probably see as much play as it does currently. Although I have seen a lot more people off of Necropotence and PETA recently, which does make me happy.
I don't know how I feel about it, but that's okay.
Yeah, because we're never gonna force you into any opinion here on the grinding station. Other
Yeah,
than sort of Fire and Ice being a really good card.
I actually I started testing it this weekend.
Really? Have you seen it at all?
I tutored it one time.
Oh.
I had to specifically remove a loyal apprentice. That card's scary.
Yeah, Loyal Threat is very scary.
Richard was playing Mad Farm, and I'm like, I gotta get rid of that. And I'm like, ooh, Timna gave me some life, draw me an extra card, picking that Loyal Apprentice. And it was right after I made a case for it. I was like, you know what? Screw it. It killed the Loyal Apprentice. The board got wiped, and it sat there until I won the game.
Let's fucking go, dude.
I was the one to have to wipe the board.
Oh, shit.
I had to destroy everything, or I was dead.
But you know what? Without SoFi there, dude.
SoFi was there giving me moral support.
SoFi was there.
I need to get the drippy one.
Are you talking about the Masterpiece?
No. I normally love the masterpieces because I love that border, but the double masters like borderless alternate art so hot. The sword is literally dripping.
Came through dripping.
Yeah, that's the one I'm gonna get if I actually end up keeping it in the deck. It's like middling right now. I don't know how I feel about it. My rel's still showing up fat though. I'm liking it like a lot.
Yeah, my rel makes sense, honestly.
But we can get into that after we talk about Ad Nauseum.
Exactly, because now, for what everyone probably came to this to hear my wonderful opinion about Ad Naus. Do I want to give the milquetoast opinion of Ad Naus?
No.
Ad Naus is the most dog shit fucking card you could be playing right now, and I have yet to hear any good arguments for it. The only argument I've heard recently was, oh, but I value Ad Nauseum. I'm calling you out, Kay. And it's like, I don't think that's ever. I love you, Kay. I'm just fucking with you. This is like never where I want to be with this card. I never want to pay 5 mana to like hope I like pseudo draw cards. Like, I'd rather not pay 5 mana to lose a bunch of life just to have known information in my hand. Like, I'm gonna let you say. I have so much to say about this, so I'm gonna let you go.
Okay. I do think that Ad Nauseum is being reevaluated currently in our meta. In the past, a lot of people were like, if you're playing black, you're on a Naus strategy. That's it. That's your only. That's the only thing you can be doing. But I think now with decks like Tivit coming in, Blue Farm is slowing down. Um, some more controlling strategies. I think the fact that they are showing that you don't necessarily need to be on Naus, but to play towards Black's primary game plan or what Black pushes your deck towards. I think that's starting to have a cascading effect where people are starting to realize, huh. Like Naus is obviously an insanely busted Magic card. Like it still says 5 mana. Like in our format, draw like 15 cards, 20 cards, if I build my deck right. But you have to build your deck right. You have to build around it ad nauseum. You have to make sure your curve is low. Whereas decks like Tivit want to be playing big value engines, Blue Farm wants to be playing big value engines. I don't think they really want the Naus. You know, I really think that Naus is being reevaluated under a little bit of a harsher lens, and I think that's a good thing. That, that, that's kind of my opinion on it right now. I'm kind of
Yeah,
excited to see where it goes, where Naus ends up in the format.
yeah. I think as the format progresses, I think there could be another wave of ad nauseum decks again. And I'm really sad that Rogsai has started to slow a bit in the way they build because they're trying to play more of a keep up with the table strategy now instead of
Terroristic
a
study meta, baby.
yeah, like I want to find Ristic Study, I want to find the One Ring, I want to find my Mystic Remora, I want to go off, but um, I think that decks like Rogsai should stay fast. Um, I think having fast decks in the meta is good. I think having Mad Farm in the meta is good, and those decks are built for ad nauseum. Their curve is so fucking low, as it should be. But with the amount of advantage engines that are coming out, I just don't think ad nauseum is good is correctly placed. I think the two decks that play ad nauseum the best um, are, in my personal opinion, well, three, in my personal opinion, are Vargoth, the mono black guy who is made specifically to play ad nauseum, um, the um, Mad Farm are Mardu strategies, and Corvold, I think, are where those decks utilize Naus really well, and those are the only decks that I see win consistently with Ad Nauseum. But because their primary strategy is Ad Nauseum, they are decks that want to abuse the card to its fullest potential. Um, I don't see that with other decks running Ad Naus. So I think the big one where a lot of people are starting to come off of it, like you rightfully said, Blue Farm is slowing down. Um, I don't think Blue Farm ever. I think Blue Farm needed Ad Nauseum when it needed it. I don't think Blue Farm needs Ad Nauseum now. That's the same with, and no one agrees with me on this, and that's perfectly fine because I don't give a fuck. Is I say that with peace and love. Is Najila. I've
Nagilla.
never liked Ad Naz in Najila. Najila is a deck that literally says on her card, it's printed. Go look it up. Trust. It says play one other card with me and I win the game. Um, and you have so many win cons for that strategy, and people stopped playing them to play Adnos, and then hoped that like one or two of those win cons would be enough because, but they're also on Thoracle, but they're also on Underworld Breach, and I don't think you need to slam every win con in a $5 deck. Like, play to your deck's outs. Ad nauseum doesn't need to be played always. Like, I would rather draw a combo piece than ad nauseum, almost always,
Mm-hmm.
because they're almost always lower costed than ad nause and are winning me are guaranteed to win me the game. That's the thing I very much dislike about ad nause is you're not guaranteed to win. I don't care if you're at 40 life. You've taken no damage. You cast Ad Nauseum. Theoretically, yeah, you should draw everything you need. There is no guarantee, especially if your deck is not built to Ad Naus and win. There are decks like Bad Farm, Timna Ikra used to be built in such a manner where your mana curve was so low. If you Ad Nauseum from, I believe it was 35 or 40 life, you did win the game. The probability of you not hitting something you needed to was very minuscule. You were winning the game. Your Ad Naus won you the game every time. But decks aren't built that way anymore. And because they're not built that way, and because you have so many things like the Hoarding Broodlord combo, and you have things like the One Ring that people are wanting to play, now you have so many good other pieces like Opposition Agent. It's becoming, I think, harder and harder to justify the card, and the reason I have such a hate boner for the card, personally, is I played during what some older players will know as the Finnish meta, which all the Finns decided to only ever play turbo dockside ad nauseum strategies. So if you weren't winning in the first 3 turns of the game, your deck was useless. And that was Cancer. But also, I think people hadn't really explored the format because this happened after the ban to Flash. When Flash meta ended, the Finnish meta began, and so everyone was on Turbo Ad Naus. Everyone wanted to like cycle through their deck as fast as possible. No one's playing interaction except for to protect their win attempt, and it was a whole different avenue that I didn't think was healthy for the format. And for the longest time, I thought Ad Nauseum needed banned because I was so tired of like the same Ad Naus strategies over and over again. But I think people have gotten smart now that we've seen like tournaments. We're seeing so many tournaments where like you're looking at the decks in the top and it's like, damn, these decks just aren't even playing Ad Naus anymore. Or if they are, their main strategy is being Ad Nauseum. I watched a Najila game a while back from a Mox Masters tournament where, yeah, the Najila player was playing Ad Nauseum, never casted it, casted Grim Hireling, won the game. And yeah, like there are so many other ways to play this format that like just because you're on black doesn't mean you need to be on Ad Nauseum.
I agree. I know you. I know that you know that I agree. I know that you know that I know that you know. You know the song and dance.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, no.
yeah. I've been on a quest to find out what I should replace Ad Nauseum with in Blue Farm. Uh, I've been making some changes. I've been doing some testing. That's what I really want to use these next few weeks for. While like we're in the like lull of tournaments, I really want to just hit it hard and test my deck, and make sure that coming into the next year, I am prepared to play Blue Farm Nautilus in a tournament, like a major tournament.
Yeah, I think I think that's where the deck is headed. If I'm going to be honest.
Oh, I do too, but it's still going to have to take some like actual testing. Like some people will say like, hey, just put a different value engine. I'm like, no, I should test a few different things and find out what's actually needed. Like I really like my rel right now. The fourth Grand Abolisher effect has felt so good.
Yeah, and
Uh,
not playing Ad Naus opens you up to so much more.
yes, we had a game Friday night where I had sat there all game. I was at 2 life. I was like, I have to win this turn. I attempt to silence, it gets stuffed. I attempt a Grand Abolisher, it gets stuffed. I attempt on my rel, it lands. I'm like, cool. I still have 4 mana to win the game. And I just tutored with Oracle and won. Uh, that felt insane. I was like, oh my gosh, I could not have done that if my role was an Ad Nauseum. Could not have.
Yeah, and yeah, man, I just from what I've saw, and from what I've heard from tournaments, people playing in tournaments. I mean, I don't know if you've asked people, but I ask people all the time when we go to tournaments how they feel about Ad Nauseum, and I've kind of heard the same things over and over again, where people are like, yeah, honestly, Ad Nauseum doesn't feel that great right now. Like, everyone always says the same thing to me. I just don't know what to replace it with. I'm only playing it because I just don't know what to slot it in, or what to slot in for it. And I think that's a hard place for the community to be in because, again, our format's so open, and people forget our format's so open that, like, for instance, me hard testing SoFi is like, I think sort of Fire and Ice is an incredible card, and I'm starting to hear other people who are also testing it, like Ben, who's been telling me more about it.
Does
That
he like it?
I don't know if he's got to, or has he played a game on it? I can't remember, but he has said that he thinks it already feels better in his legs. So I don't remember if he's actually played it or not. I'll have to re-ask him, but I know we had a conversation about it. And don't quote me, I could be wrong. I think he's played a few games. I said I think he liked it. I know I've been goldfishing with it a lot, and because even though I haven't been playing Magic, I still goldfish all the time. And it feels really strong in the Malcolm Tevesh deck that I built, because like my commander, the thing that with Sword of Fire and Ice that I think makes it incredible is the fact that it gives, like, the draw is great, the damage is great, the pro red and blue is wild. You not being able to pyroblast my Malcolm or bounce my Malcolm or remove my Malcolm is really fucking good. It funny enough also, with Tevish, can turn your thralls into bigger threats, like turning them into 2/3s is pretty relevant. Um, or putting it onto your bowmasters, putting it on.
Oh my gosh, on a Bowmasters is busted.
Yeah, on a bowmasters, putting it onto Italian. You know, somebody gives you a gilded drake, right?
Slap that on there.
You slap that bitch on a fucking gilded drake, and now you have a 5/5. My deck's also playing like Tandem Lookout and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it feels so much better putting it onto a Dothy. Yeah, I really like the card, but I think for right now, people are going to be still really high on Ad Nauseum, because that's. I don't blame them for this. I'm gonna be honest. When Ad Nauseum was good, it was like the best thing you could be doing, and I think that's something that's hard to shy away from, if I'm being honest. And I'm guilty of this sometimes too, where I'll think like, man, this card's just good. It's always been good for me. I'm gonna keep playing it. And it isn't until I talk to more people and I like figure out more stuff about what I want, what my decks want, that I'm learning. Like, maybe this card isn't as good as I thought it was. Like, just because I've won games on this card doesn't mean I should be playing it, right? I think that's something we hit on in Responsibility last episode, that just because a card is good doesn't mean it should be played in every deck that can play it. Just because a card sees play in every deck doesn't mean that it should see play in every deck. And I think that's true for the cards we've mentioned today, is quite literally find what works for you and play it. If Ad Nauseum isn't working for you, or you're feeling like Ad Nauseum isn't hitting that same sweet spot it used to, fuck, play something else. Like, that's perfectly okay.
I advocate for my rel.
My rel is a good card. So, on the topic of my rel, honestly, in Teferi, I play the creature Teferi, so I can have a silence effect to go off on my turn. Like, silence effects are really good. Now, Teferi is not a silence effect.
I think they're mandatory at this point in the game.
Yes. Grand Abolisher, fucking Myrel, the new fucking one, the green-white one, the cat.
Kutzel.
Yeah, Kutzel. Um, there's silence, obviously. Like,
Orim's Chant, Veil of Summer, Autumn's Veil.
yeah, these cards are so good. Another thing is people think like, which one is it? It's Autumn's Veil? No, it's Veil of Summer. That you do not. I think people forget this. Veil of Summer is not as good of a reactive card as people think it is. I think it's a really good on my upkeep. Veil of Summer. Nobody has to play a blue spell for you to cast it. You don't get the draw, which is fine. We don't care if the card's replacing itself. We care that now our shit can't get counted for 1 mana. When you upkeep this, I think if you're gonna get more players often than not, because they're just not gonna think about it. They're gonna be like, yeah, okay, you don't get the draw. And then you're like, yeah, that's fine. And then you go to cast your spell, and they go, counter spell, and you're like, sure, resolves. Doesn't get countered. Like, silence effects are just so good. I love silence effects right now, and more people should be on them.
Silence effects, I think, are mandatory at this point in the game. Honestly, I do. I very rarely win without the protection of a silence.
And
There's a reason I wanted 4 of them. I was thinking about playing a 5th one. We were building a Kenrith list for Richard this weekend, and we put 5 silence effects in that deck.
oh yeah,
It was like Silence, Grand Abolisher, Ranger Captain, Veil of Summer, and then Kudzu.
yeah, that sounds about right.
I was like, oh, that's disgusting.
And the crazy part, and especially in green, is this is why I think Elevere is so good as Sax Commander, better than Winota, is because it can tutor its own silence effects. Like, I'm going to tutor for creature, put silence effect creature on board. You now have to wipe my board before somebody else has a turn instead of at the end of my turn. Like, or like when you're going to your turn, like, because there's a time where you don't get that opportunity to now. And or even better part is if you like fuck, I'm gonna forget the card name. It's not this card. It's not Eldritch Evolution. What's the green blue one?
Neoform.
Neoform. If you play Dorks, the best part about Neoform is that people were using Neoform to bring out Turbo Dockside with their Dorks.
No,
Makes
sir.
sense.
No, sir.
I think Neoform is so much better with Grand Abolisher.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
The ability to, like, here's Neoform, sack this, and then people go like, oh, okay, yeah, that resolves. Grand Abolisher, here's my win attempt. And it's like, yeah, there's a reason I do not let Neoforms resolve. And it's because I've been got by that before. And that will never happen again. That in my deck primarily plays fucking artifacts, so...
If I could run Neoform and Blue Farm, I would. Just Neoform.
Yeah.
No dorks.
Yeah, Neoform's so good.
You know how good it'd feel to go, oh yeah, I'm going to win this turn. Neoform my Esper Sentinel to a Grand Abolisher. Oh! What's he get rid of his Esper Sentinel for? I wonder.
Yeah, Neoform's such a good card, man.
That's one of the few strengths I feel like the green has right now in the format. Is the fact that it just gets to put Grand Abolisher on the board.
Or Grand Abolisher effect, right?
Right. You can be playing Dosen. You can be playing... That's about it.
Myrel.
Well, Myrel, but you have to be in... I'm saying, like, outside of white, right? Because if you're in white, you're going to be like, get rid of this little rinky-dink dork, get rid of this... Use whatever, and then send it out. But yeah, I'm excited to see where some of the decks like end up without Naus. I really am excited for that. because that's it's. I have been pushing the boundaries of Naus has not felt great for a long time. And it's partly because I hate the fact that I don't get to play some of the bigger value engines. I love big value engines, bro. 4-drop value engines are so fun. You're like,
I'm actually surprised you don't play. I know why you don't, but I'm surprised you haven't like debated Teferi Master of Time.
you mean Time Raveler?
Nope,
No, the actual like 5 mana creature one.
nope. The 4 fairy baby.
Oh, 4 fairy. Oh, on people's the one on everyone's turn.
Yeah, the one that also phases, which is like
I'm good.
really good.
I'm good.
I know, I know.
It's some goofy stuff. I can't commit to that.
It's a
My
card I've been
my
seeing a
four
lot of.
mana goofiness is my rail right now.
I think the only other spot for me, if you're like in blue, yeah, the 2 4 mana spells that I think are really big right now that people aren't playing. Um, I really like obviously Teferi Master of Time, but I also really like Karn the Great Creator. Um, having a Stony Silence effect that doesn't hit you is really good in a format where people build too heavily around rocks.
Asymmetrical stacks being good. What?
What? What the?
What the heck? No way. I never would have thought. Never once.
Not a single time. Yeah, but how far are we in
Uh,
right now?
about an hour.
Okay. I was
About an
gonna
hour.
say because that's about where I'm at with these cards. If we wanted to add more to continue the discussion,
I mean, we even talked about my favorite deck right now, Blue Farm.
we did. We have every episode.
I know.
Same with me and Teferi.
I
So
like Blue Farm. But, oh, I was actually talking with some of the guys around the shop, and I was like, you guys should try Blue Farm. I try to plug whenever I can. I want people to be able to test changes with and, like, have actual real feedback. Our store's talking about doing a cEDH event, like a smaller one. And we're probably just gonna try to start around the new year. Uh, so that'll be cool.
yeah, you'll have to let me know because I'll 100% try and come out if I can. I think Magic for me is going to be a lot harder. I'm going to be working a lot of overtime. I think it's going to be kind of hard for me to justify doing as much as I was or as much as I would like to. But I'm still, like I said, I'm going to get a webcam. I plan on like playing when I can,
Here's the
testing
big
with people.
question, River. Are you going to be trying to play in the SCGCon 5K?
I don't think I'll be able to
No.
because they don't allow proxies, do they?
Oh, you're right. You are
Yeah.
correct.
And I will never support a tournament that is not fully proxied friendly.
I will be playing in it.
Yeah, I hope you do well, but yeah, I refuse to support
That's fair.
anything that does that because it's upsetting to me that this community's worked so hard to make this format what it is today, and then stores or companies come in and are like, well, but Wizards and like nobody fucking cares. SCG could 100% host Eminence events. I don't think Eminence wouldn't give a shit. Um, on top of Eminence not giving a shit, Wizards wouldn't give a shit. As long as it wasn't a Wizard sanctioned event, which the cEDH event would just not be Wizard sanctioned. Um, that's about the extent of that, but I don't know. It feels really gatekeepy sometimes, where I worry for the players that have to proxy like myself and aren't able to play in these events and then get cooked. However, as of right now, I really can't complain. I'm glad there are tournaments that people can still go to. We have more than enough like proxy friendly tournaments that having a few non-proxy friendly ones isn't going to hurt the scene at all. So
Yeah, right. I live 2 hours from the event. So I would like to drive 2 hours for a couple days in a row and hopefully win some money.
yeah. Um, when is this?
It is January 6th and 7th.
Ooh. I don't know what I'll be doing, but if I have it free, I might go to spectate. Do you know if they're going to be having, if they're going to be broadcasting any?
I do not know if they're gonna be broadcasting. I know you're gonna if you go, you're gonna have to get like a pass. That's like a convention.
Yeah.
So I think it's $100 for the cEDH weekend pass.
Wait.
That's entry into the event too.
Oh, holy!
Yeah,
I was
like
like,
the
yeah, I'm not
cEDH
spending
weekend
$100
pass
for
comes with
like
entry into the event.
okay, okay. Holy, holy moly! That was gonna make me cry. Who knows? I might be able to play. Uh, so, I have about Let me think. I could probably buy most of the stuff I need before then and ask around. I have a lot of friends who I know would let me borrow cards for an event like that. And I think, is it like what? You can have 10 proxies or something? Or is it there
I
are just proxies?
I think it might be no proxy. One
Okay,
second.
because if it's no proxy, then I'll have to not play Time Twister, which is fine. I can just not play Time Twister and play something else. Um, but maybe.
The Commander Celebration. Nope. cEDH weekend pass. Yep. Two entry vouchers into the Command Zone scheduled events. Nope, that's not the one. I'm trying to find it on their website real quick. So I can give you all of the juicy details. cEDH Weekend Pass is required, obviously. Um, Format cEDH, structure 4 pods, 5 rounds of Swiss cut to top 16. Starts at 9 a.m. The Weekend Pass is required. Yeah, I don't see their I don't think they're proxy. They're in the past they have not been proxy friendly at all. Like they don't care.
Yeah. Well, if not, I remove Time Twister and my deck is like 2,800 bucks. So, and that's not including what I still need. And I think
But
I
first
actually have
place
a.
prize is $1,100.
Hey, then I could use that for half my deck. Um,
Hey, I could put that towards my car payment.
okay, so damn. Technically, the cards I still need, it's 2,700. But
You'll live.
uh, your boy might bust out the credit card. Honestly.
Oh, I wouldn't do that, but that's just me.
Hey, your boy makes really good money now, so I could absolutely
I don't
like
make a livable
spend twenty seven
wage.
hundred
That's
and
kidding.
just make
I'm kidding.
credit card payments.
I'm kidding.
I mean, the most expensive stuff in this deck are literally like Mox Diamond. Actually, hold on, let me switch the printing of this deck because I would not be. Yeah, so it would be like 2,500.
That's not that bad.
No, it's really not. Like most of these cards are like the ones that cost the most are obviously going to be like Mox Diamond, Grim Monolith, Jeweled Lotus, Mana Crypt, you know, the One Ring, stuff like that. and then everything else is like relatively cheap.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, my bad. Transmute artifact. I forgot I still played. So
That's not that bad. It's
no,
that
it's really not.
bad. Oh, well,
Is
I
there anything else you want to hit on?
no, I'm good. I've hit on everything I feel like hitting on this week. It's a rather short episode, but that's fine. We'll live. We'll come back next week with some spicy topics to talk about. More controversial opinions.
Yeah, well, next week is going to be super fun, um, because we're going to be talking about cards that we think that should see more play than they do.
Ooh, yes, sir.
And that's going to be a really fun topic. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, I think it'll be fun for sure.
Yeah, it will be. It will be.
So with all of that out of the way, and so we obviously had no tourneys. Um, like we said, we're not going to have any for probably the rest of this year. There's like one coming up in Bedford. Don't think I'm going to be going to it. I
I
don't really want
can't.
to. Yeah, it's like a 1K, but they're probably going to cancel it because I don't think there's going to be that many people that show up.
I just can't
But
make it. I would go, and I know a lot of my friends would go, but we have plans to have our like Thanksgiving get together that day, and we're having a buddy from out of town come down and like hang out. So we can't like bail on him when he's driving like a few hours, and we're like putting him up. We're trying to hang out with him like for the weekend. Be like, no, we're not hanging out with you. We're gonna go play a Magic tournament. Like, that just
yeah, Bree and I,
it's not worth it.
are going to. She has drill this weekend, but I'm going to a party that Saturday. So with her, um, for her like drill group. So
Fun.
yeah, but beginning next year, I do want to start getting more tournaments in. Possibly, like I said, it might be a minute before I'm actually able to like really play again, but I'm gonna try and get some more testing and stuff in. We'll just see what happens.
I need to get an in-person testing group made.
Um,
Unfortunately, I don't
yeah.
have that luxury all the time, but that's okay.
Speaking of, um, has Richard done anything more with the tournament he's planning?
Um, I'm also planning that. That's also my thing.
Okay,
I'm
but
financially
you have yet
invested
to
in
done
it.
anything more.
No, we have the venue, we have the day. It's March 9th. I think we're gonna start like 9 a.m. Just
Very
because
cool.
we only have the venue until 10:30 that night, and we want to have we have like 5 rounds, cut to top 16. But it's a cash prize. I think first place. I can pull up the cash breakdown real quick because I don't know off the top of my head. I don't keep that in my mind.
Yeah, because I would love to start shelling for that tournament now and getting people aware of it way ahead of time. That way,
I was
you
gonna start
know,
really hitting it hard at the beginning of the year. It feels weird. I don't know. I think it's just because it's 2024. That feels like a full year away because we're in 2023.
even though it's
Uh,
like a month.
yeah, even though it's not that long away. So since we're funding it out of our personal bank accounts, the cash payout's kind of small compared to what we would like to do. We're doing first place is like $500, and then second through fourth is getting 100.
Have you guys thought about where's the venue at?
It's in Columbus, so it's at the Columbus Commons. It's a really big building. We have the top. We have like the second floor balcony. It seats like 75 people.
Have you guys thought about having vendors or actually getting
We
sponsorships
are
or
actually
anything?
reaching out to local shops around
Ooh.
around town. One of the shops that we really go to has already said that they're interested in coming, so we will have at least one vendor there. Um, we're excited to to have them on, and I I don't know all the information with like exactly what they're bringing, what they're gonna have yet. Um, I know Richard's been dealing mostly with that stuff. I've been dealing with a lot of the getting it like online and a lot of the behind the scenes, getting it put up, getting like the funding all situated, and getting all the accounts made for like Stripe so all the payments come in.
Yeah, well, if you guys need any help, let me know. Are you guys wanting to? I know I'm asking a lot of questions about this, and it's super early for it, but are you guys planning on doing like any broadcast from there, or?
I don't think for this first one we are, just because we're trying to see if there's interest in it. Like
Okay.
if we could get, because I know Richard wants to continue to do it. I don't know if I'll be. I don't know if I will be able to continue putting as much time into it as I want because like I won't be able to play in the tournament. I'll be running the tournament. I
Yeah.
really would rather be playing in tournaments. I think it's very very good for me to learn the other side, right? Like I've been learning a lot of things about running a tournament, but I think in the future I would like to be playing. And I know Rich already knows that. He knew that going in, but he really likes running tournaments because he used to run them for our local store a couple years ago, and he loves running tournaments. But yeah,
Okay. Well. Yeah. Well, keep your guys' eyes peeled for March,
March
because I want
9th,
March 9th. I want that tournament to pop off.
I
So
do as well. That will be. It's like it's the second Saturday of the month.
yeah, I will be there. I'll be sure to put in for work to be there. I don't know if I'll be able to play, because I really like spectating. Um, but I'll probably end up playing because why not?
It is up on Top Deck right now. It's up on the Eminence website. It's for people to start signing up. I don't think anyone has signed up yet. I haven't been like throwing the link around super aggressive yet. Like I said, like I don't like signing up for stuff super far in advance, so I'm gonna probably put it out there starting in January. Just throw it up on the sites every like month or so.
Okay, yeah, we can
Uh,
always post it in the description as well for the video.
yeah. I think I will probably start doing that. I just don't like. I've had it where I sign up for something and forget about it. I've done
Yeah,
that. It's so funny. Like I was checking my Eminence profile the other day. I'm like, oh, I forgot to go to that tournament. I totally paid $30 and said I'd go, and then I went to a different one because I forgot about it. So it was a little awkward. I was like, oh, that affected my Eminence win rate, and I'm really proud of that stat. But that's okay. It'll be on the climb. I
well, good.
uh, I am excited for our tournament this next year coming. I know Richard wants to keep doing it. Like if we get enough interest, I think it's like if we get 48 people, he's gonna keep like trying to push it.
Good.
Um,
Yeah.
and we're like capping at 64 for this one. I I think the cash prize will attract people. I hope it does. Like there's no BS with if we have this many attendees, it'll be this much. It's straight up. That's how it's gonna be. $500 for first, 100 for second, third, and fourth. At least for this first one. And if we get more people, we'll raise the prize and up the cap. I think is what he's wanted to do. But
Awesome.
he's really excited, and I'm really excited to be helping him out. Right. I'm really trying to support my friend in his endeavor.
Imagine having friends.
Ah, got him.
Fuck.
No, yeah. I'll have more information about that closer when it comes. About exactly like parking and
Yeah.
what all need to go down. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited for that. I feel like this is a big year for me coming up. We got the podcast, we got the tournament grind, we got that tournament that I'm hosting with Richard. Hopefully it goes well. I hope the year pans out like I'm hoping.
Well, I think it will, and I'm super excited. Like I said, you guys need any help? Let me know. But
Yeah.
anything else you can think of?
No, I'm content.
Cool. Well, to our loyal fans, for those of you that don't know, please stay in touch. We had a mishap happen where our channel got deleted by YouTube
Oh
for
yeah,
like
that sucked.
we don't know why. We've only posted one thing ever. So YouTube also did not tell us why. They gave us a vague reason saying spam, misinformation, or something, or misleading. It was probably
Our
dumb.
takes were too spicy.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, our takes were too spicy.
Thankfully, the channel got reinstated, so
Yes.
we're good. I don't think we have any strikes or anything like that.
I didn't
Against
see any
us.
emails about them. It was
Okay.
That was an awkward. I was like, man, it's literally just us talking.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, stay up to date with the channel. If anybody wants to support us, by all means, like, comment, subscribe. Those things help an insane amount. The subscriptions for sure. Just watch our videos, keep them on in the background. I'm really looking forward to hearing your guys' feedback. So whatever you guys have for us, if you want us to say anything else about cEDH or have any takes you want us to go over, send them our way. But until next time, that is us from the grinding station. We will see you guys later.
Bye.